Daniel sat alone in his dimly lit room, staring at the wall as if it held every answer he had ever searched for. Life had collapsed around him far too quickly. 1 month was all it took for everything to fall apart. He lost his job, the savings he had worked years to gather disappeared, and the people he trusted slowly drifted away when things became hard. The silence that surrounded him was heavy, cold, unforgiving. One night, overwhelmed by the weight on his shoulders, Daniel left his house and began walking through the quiet streets. The night air felt colder than usual, and the streetlights flickered like fading hope. He didn't know where he was going or why he kept moving, but something inside him refused to stay still. He walked until the town looked unfamiliar, until even the road beneath his feet felt like new territory. He stopped, looked up at the sky, and whispered, "If anyone or anything out there can hear me, show me something. Anything. I need direction." The wind shifted softly. It brushed across his face like a gentle touch. Daniel closed his eyes briefly, and when he opened them, he found himself no longer standing on a street. He was in a forest. Tall trees surrounded him, rising like pillars into a dark sky. Mist curled around his legs, moving like living smoke. A distant sound echoed, slow, steady drumbeats, ancient and rhythmic, coming from somewhere deeper within the trees. The sound drew him forward. He moved slowly, guided only by instinct and the heartbeat-like rhythm. The forest darkened with every step until it suddenly opened into a wide circular clearing. Daniel stood at a crossroads. 3 paths stretched outward, and at the center stood an old man holding a staff carved with symbols that glowed faintly. His robe was earth-toned, with strange patterns across it. His hair was long and silver, flowing gently even without wind. His eyes were deep, warm, and strangely familiar, as if he had seen Daniel long before this moment. Daniel swallowed. "Who are you?" The man smiled softly. "I am the guide at the crossroads. When a traveler loses their way, they eventually find me." Daniel's heart tightened. "Why am I here?" "Because you asked," the guide answered, his voice calm. "And only those who ask with sincerity find this place." The guide lifted his staff and pointed toward the paths. The first path was dark and shadowy, filled with shifting shapes. Daniel saw flickers of his past. Painful moments, mistakes, moments of guilt and fear. This path leads you through your past. Every wound, every regret, every memory you have avoided lies here. Many believe they will heal by walking it, but most become trapped reliving what they should have released. Daniel felt a tremor inside him and looked away. The second path was bright, covered in warm golden light. Flowers lined the sides, and a gentle breeze flowed through it. "This is the path of comfort," the guide said. "Here you will live safely. No surprises, no pain, but no growth either. You will not fall, but you will not rise." Daniel stared at it, feeling both drawn and warned. The third path was covered in thick fog. The ground looked uneven, scattered with sharp stones. Thunder rumbled far in the distance, and the air around it felt heavy. "This," the guide said, "is the path of becoming, the most difficult path, filled with uncertainty, storms, and challenges. Many begin this journey but turn back when fear rises. But those who do not turn back discover who they truly are." Daniel's voice was barely a whisper. "Which one is right for me?" The guide shook his head. "Only you can decide." Daniel took in a long breath and stepped toward the fog-covered path. Thunder rumbled as he stepped forward, and the guide's expression softened with a knowing look. The moment Daniel entered the fog, fear hit him like cold water. His mind screamed at him to turn back. The fog closed in around him until he could barely see his own hands. Voices whispered from the grayness, echoes of his deepest doubts. "You'll fail again. You were never enough. You don't have what it takes." Daniel stopped walking for a moment, fighting to steady his breath. His heart raced, but something in him refused to surrender. He pushed forward. The fog thickened, then shifted, forming images around him like moving mirrors. He saw himself trying new things and failing again and again. He saw himself waking early, falling asleep late, pushing through exhaustion. He saw people doubting him, testing him, challenging him. He saw himself slowly growing stronger, wiser, more disciplined. Then a new vision appeared, one unlike the others. He saw himself standing on a mountain peak, wind rushing around him, the sky wide and open. That version of him looked calm, confident, and grounded. The mountaintop Daniel stared directly at him, sending a message without speaking. Keep going. Daniel felt tears fill his eyes. He sank to his knees in the fog, overwhelmed not by sadness but by the release of everything he had held inside for years. The pain, the fear, the doubt, everything washed out of him in silent tears. When he lifted his head, the fog had begun to fade. The visions dissolved. The crossroads, the trees, the guide, everything slowly disappeared like mist caught by sunlight. Daniel found himself back in his room. But he was not the same man who had left it. His chest felt lighter, his thoughts clearer, his breath calmer. He didn't suddenly have solutions to every problem, but he had something much stronger: direction and courage. He rose the next morning with new determination. He cleaned his room, made a list of goals, began searching for skills he needed to learn. He took small steps to rebuild his life, applying for new jobs, starting a small online hustle, talking to people who lifted him higher. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. There were setbacks, plenty of them. Days he wanted to quit, days when doubt tried crawling back into his mind. But every time he felt himself slipping, he remembered the mountain vision, the stronger version of himself waiting at the end of the path. He kept moving. He built discipline, learned patience, grew in wisdom. Slowly but surely, his life began to shift. Opportunities appeared that once felt impossible. He started earning again, started building a future he thought he had lost. Months later, Daniel walked back to the quiet street where he had once whispered for guidance. The wind blew softly across his face, the same gentle touch he had felt the night everything changed. He smiled. "I'm still on the path," he whispered, "and I'm not turning back." As he walked away, he felt a calm presence inside him, steady and certain. Every person reaches a crossroads in life. Not everyone chooses the uncertain road, but Daniel did. And step by step, he grew into the man he was always meant to be.